Welcome to the first post-Super Bowl mock draft. This is, of course, from our good friends at Mocking the Draft, who do the best job on the internet with NFL draft coverage. Let's start at the top with the top five. Number one, Blake Bortles. I don't think he's the most polished passer in this draft, comes from UCF, but physically that's the superior thing he has to Teddy Bridgewater, who is the number one quarterback as far as I'm concerned in this draft. Number two, Jake Matthews from Texas A&M, offensive tackle, going to St. Louis. I do like this pick. Jake Long coming back from his own injury. St. Louis, invest in those offensive and defensive lines. We've seen what they've been able to do on the defensive side of the ball. Build up that offensive line when in doubt. Number three, Teddy Bridgewater, best quarterback in this draft, going to Jacksonville. Love the pick. What can I say? There's not much there. If he falls to three, Gus Bradley, still very much a happy man. Number four, Johnny Manziel to Cleveland. We know Cleveland's enamored with Manziel. If they can surround him with really good offensive linemen to accompany what they already have. Looking at you, Joe Thomas, there's talent there. It's a wild card pick, but the ceiling is very, very high, obviously, for Manziel. And at number five, Sammy Watkins to Oakland. Kind of the most Oakland pick possible here. Oakland needs help everywhere. They need help at quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. I'm not crazy about the facts that they would take. And Watkins cleared the number one receiver in this draft, but if you're a bad team with a good receiver, that's exactly what you are, not a good team. All right, let's jump around even more. Jadeveon Clowney at number six. If he falls to number six, holy friggin' hell. It fills the need for Atlanta at defensive end, rushing the quarterback. They need to do that, especially with Osi Umenyiora not working out in terms of value, in terms of need. Home run for Atlanta. At number nine, Buffalo going with Greg Robinson, the offensive tackle from Auburn. Love this pick for Buffalo here. A couple years ago, they take Cordy Glenn, but in terms of tackles, Buffalo is nowhere near where they should be if they want to make the playoffs because they're building things on defense. They've got two good running backs in Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller. EJ Manuel, quarterback of the future. Invest in that offensive line. We've seen that formula work. Let's go to number 12 in the New York Football Giants. I really like saying New York Football Giants. Eric Ebron, the best tight end in this draft from North Carolina, fills a need. Brandon Myers didn't quite work out for the G-men. This is an offensive line, though, that needs to be overhauled. If Taylor Lewan is still there, if Greg Robinson, hell, if he falls down to the 12 area, they need to jump on offensive line. They can get these skill positions. It's a pretty nice draft for tight ends. That said, I really do like Ebron. He's a fantastic target and would be for Eli Manning. Number 19, Miami Dolphins go with Taylor Lewan. Just mentioned Taylor from Michigan, a very, very good offensive tackle. Second or third best, somewhere in that range. Miami gets him. Miami needs a ton of help, especially since they're losing Jonathan Martin most likely. Taylor Lewan fits that need. They have Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback of the future. They've invested in receiver. They've invested in running back. It would not hurt at all to build up that offensive line. Let's skip ahead to number 21, the Green Bay Football Packers. I can say that for any team. Jason Morrow from Texas Tech, another tight end, fills a need. Maybe. Jermichael Finley is a free agent. Obviously, this is a team whose offense revolves around a passing game, a Pro Bowl quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, giving him weapons year after year. Not a bad thing. They could use some help on defense. Inside linebacker position, at cornerback, there's some free agency, uncertainty what they're going to do moving forward and how they're going to invest money. They could use help at safety, but you got to have that offense going. I don't hate this pick. And finally, at number 27, Dee Ford from Auburn. He'd be an outside linebacker in that Rob Ryan defensive system. I like the pick there. They brushed the passer really well this past season, so you're getting an embarrassment of riches. Never hurts to have a great front. They do need help elsewhere on the field, but all things considered, especially in that division and in that conference, loading up on guys that can get into a backfield like Dee Ford can. He's not a huge guy. He won't play defensive line in this 3-4, but in all sorts of alignments, he will get on the field and he will get after it. So there you have it. This week's mock draft, first one after the Super Bowl, mocking the draft. Best in the business at putting together draft coverage. You have to check them out every single day. And check out the SB Nation studio show, Future Consideration, every week through the NFL Draft.